Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. A lot of continued talk about the recent peaceful protests here in Thailand. There seems to be this ongoing effort to spin certain aspects of what's going on over here. I recently did a video where I myself discussed the fact that, frankly, this whole notion of people trying to spin up or sensationalize the notion there's going to be a coup here is pretty outside of the reality of the facts on the ground right now. I don't think anybody really wants that. There are political solutions, multiple political solutions, by the way, and it looks very likely that one of them will probably come to pass. And as I said in that prior video, I've been out here a long time. I'm originally from Kansas. Coups I look at like tornadoes. There's like a confluence of things that happen, and they have kind of you get a feel for what it looks like or what one coming would look like. And at the present time, genuinely don't get that feeling. I think, if anything, what we're going to see is a possible political transition. And frankly, under the current circumstances, it looks pretty warranted, as I've discussed in prior videos. That said, I thought of making this particular video after reading two recent articles from the Bangkok Post, and hats off the Bangkok Post. You really, a great source of information on Thai politics, just Thailand news generally. Bangkok Post is quite good. Other publications which we quote and cite on here are quite good as well, but really, Bangkok Post, I think it's safe to say, is the English language paper of record, if you will, with regard to Thailand, or maybe Bangkok specifically, but I think Thailand-wide as well. It's fair to say that as well. That said, article is titled, PM Could Face Court Test. And as we've discussed, all the stuff that's happened with this current prime minister, especially this leaked phone call, are leading to serious developments with regard to whether or not she's going to remain in office. And if it's not abundantly clear from my prior videos, I don't think she should. And I don't know exactly what she was thinking when she made that phone call to Hun Sen, but I know that it means one of two things. Either she needs to leave because she had, in my opinion, nefarious intentions, or she wasn't, frankly, competent enough to know that that kind of communication was not appropriate. I mean, in an extreme way. I mean, the word appropriate is kind of an understatement here. That said, quoting directly, in response to a recent opinion poll showing a drop in the Prime Minister's popularity, he, and this is some advisor, I urge those who are watching this video, go check out the article in Bangkok Post, bangkokpost.com. Quoting further, he stated that the poll had been conducted earlier, adding that sentiment had now improved as more people understand the context of the conversation between Ms. Paetongtarn and Hun Sen. What context? Her calling him up, calling him uncle, saying he can have basically whatever he wants, saying, let's reopen the border at the same time, and he disagreed, and then calling our own uniformed personnel, the commander in the field who's tasked with putting himself in harm's way to defend Thailand, to call that person an opponent? What further context do we need here? And I don't buy that, I'm sorry, that sounds like spin to me. That said, let's go further here. And real quick, the whole issue of Thai sovereignty needs no context. And what we'll get into in the next citation here talks about the fact that there seems to be some spin now trying to be set up to talk about this in a more partisan manner. I was at that protest. It was completely peaceful. It was not a partisan gathering, okay? This is people like myself, and I'll get to all of this here in a moment in more detail, but it's folks that are just concerned about the sovereignty of Thailand, because that sovereignty is the bulwark against outside forces protecting Thai freedoms. That's the point. And apparently the leadership in what I'll call the rump coalition doesn't seem to get this. And it also seems like folks in the media don't seem to get this. That's our concern. Thailand, the sovereignty of Thailand is the concern. This isn't even political. Political is an order of magnitude down from the issue of national sovereignty. That's what's concerning everyone. Okay? Real quick here, just to let folks know, I do now have a paid news service, Integrity News Service, which is, we're trying to expand it out. I'm liking more and more the notion of providing people with insight and commentary and news. And we do deeper dives into this and many other things, especially as it pertains to expats. More and more, I kind of want to talk international economics, especially as it pertains to Thailand and Greater Southeast Asia. If you're interested in that, media@integrity-legal.com. Also, Pancake Palace. My better half and I have opened a restaurant here in downtown Bangkok. We're catering to folks that like American diner food. We got chili, we've got buffalo wings, we've got cheeseburgers. Now we have glass bottle Coke. We're looking to add milkshakes and things of that nature. Also, and I hadn't pointed this out before, I will note it more in the future, we do have Thai food options as well. So if you have a significant other who's not particularly into American food, we have Thai options on our menu as well. So Pancake Palace, link is in the description below. Now, moving forward on this issue of Thai sovereignty and this spin that seems to be going on, because there seems to be forces trying to keep this purely in kind of a partisan or political framework. That's not what's going on here. People that are upset about this are not out upset about it because they care particularly about politics. That was the big takeaway I had from being at the actual event. And as we'll get into in this citation, it's from the article, New Anti-Paetongtarn Group Draws Scrutiny, BangkokPost.com. That's the first misnomer. This was not per se an anti-Paetongtarn group. This was a pro-Thai sovereignty group, okay? People are concerned. I myself am one of them. I have voiced, first of all, my concerns about the underlying of Thai sovereignty in the form of the World Economic Forum coming out here and her acting like some kind of hostess to those folks, you know, if anything, somebody opening the gates, if you will, to allow in the foreign marauders in the form of the World Economic Forum. That's my real concern. Stuff like the OECD, where they're coming in and telling us, you know, there's, and Trump in the United States, just as a counterpoint, if you will, or a point of reference on this, affirmatively rejected everything associated with OECD, citing national sovereignty. I discussed that in other videos. So this WEF stuff and this OECD stuff is concerning enough. Then this woman gets on the phone with Hun Sen and seems to be handing over border prerogatives to, you know, the guy on the other side of the border. You know, this is not partisan. I can't stress that enough. I don't like Thai partisan politics. Okay, that's the reason that this, to my mind, is different. And it's why I get upset. Look, I'm a naturalized Thai. I came here. In a sense, this place gave me a level of refuge, and I appreciate it. Maybe I appreciate it more even than folks that live here because I come to it from an outsider's perspective. I'm not saying I understand it better or worse. I just have a different perspective, and I find this stuff very concerning. Again, what happened on Sunday this past weekend, was not, or excuse me, Saturday, was not a anti-Paetongtarn protest per se. There was a lot of talk about she needs to go, as I've discussed on this video. And when I say that, I mean she needs to resign, or hopefully we'll see some kind of further action. Maybe the coalition will just fall apart politically of its own accord. We may see action from the courts, remains to be seen. But, you know, it's not a matter of even any of us particularly care about the party in power. It's the fact that she herself either intentionally undermined Thailand's sovereignty or did not have the competence to understand that what she was doing was undermining Thailand's sovereignty. That's why we're concerned, and that's why people think she's got to go. This isn't political. This is just, we're concerned about our country. That's the point. That said, quoting directly again, BangkokPost.com, new anti-Paetongtarn protest draws scrutiny. Again, that's a misnomer. It's not an anti-Paetongtarn protest. It's pro-Thai sovereignty protest. Quoting further, Panitan Watanayakorn, a political and security analyst, said the protest was notable for uniting figures from former rival groups, including Red Shirts, the People's Alliance for Democracy, aka Yellow Shirts, and the People's Democratic Reform Committee, PDRC, as well as academics and some senators. Yeah, I've noted this as well. I never in a million years, if you would have told me 15 years ago in 2010 that you'd see these people on the same stage, I would have called you a liar. I would never have believed that. And that goes to the point of this. This isn't partisan. This is Thais who couldn't disagree on things more otherwise, getting together and saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's kind of like the quote from Benjamin Franklin in the founding days of the United States Republic when he said, "We shall all hang together, or most assuredly, we will all hang separately." That's the concern. Thailand's sovereignty protects all of us Thais. That's what needs to be understood. This isn't partisan. This isn't political. Quoting further, Mr. Panitan stressed the importance of monitoring unaffiliated citizens and online platforms, which have played a major role in spreading the protest message. Are you talking about me? Unaffiliated citizens and online platforms? Well, okay, whatever. He also pointed to the potential influence of upcoming judicial rulings on the PM's status expected after July 1 in shaping public sentiment. Well, beyond shaping public sentiment, it may change the makeup of the government. And frankly, as we've been discussing, I think it's probably warranted under the circumstances, as again, she either understood she was undermining Thailand's sovereignty or she didn't. And in either case, that's probably not the person we need to be leading the country right now. That said, quoting further, another legal scholar, Komsan Polkon, emphasized that the demonstration reflected informed civic engagement. Yeah, that's well put. And that's what we're talking about here. This isn't political partisanship. It's not demagoguery. It's just, look, this represents, this is an issue that pertains to Thai sovereignty. We're concerned about it. Something needs to change on this score. And that something is quite specific. In fact, it's specifically embodied in one person. Quoting further, this wasn't mob rule. These participants were concerned, largely middle-class citizens expressing political dissatisfaction in an organized way. He warned against dismissing their concerns, particularly around national sovereignty. Yeah, as I discussed in another video, one thing, I was talking to somebody who was there, and they were saying, hey, this isn't like other things we've been to in the past, political events and things where you have to walk around on eggshells and worry about, talking about the wrong political actor in the wrong way for fear that you're going to upset them, which is sort of like the polarization we've seen in the United States here recently, especially politically. It's sort of the antithesis of that. Everybody was just there basically supporting Thailand. That was the message. We care about our sovereignty. We care about the independence of our nation state. We care about the fact that this country needs to be governed by somebody who understands that Thai national sovereignty protects us as the citizenry from undue outside influence. And if we don't have that person, then we need to find somebody else. So again, I think it's really worth pointing out the exact context of all this and try to dispel some of the spin, because this isn't political. This isn't like in times past when this has been some attempt to trigger some other type of mechanism here in Thailand that will lead to some major change that could be detrimental to the country. No, this is just concern, as it says in the article, middle class, kind of the everyman type of Thai, basically saying, hey, we care about our country, we care about its independence, we care about its sovereignty, and we don't want to see it undermined.